What I'd like to do is I'd like to say, this is diversity. Okay? The Scots, we've had diversity for years. We've never worried about it. So what we want to do is teach the world to be diverse. That's the aim. So my name is Jim Cassidy, which Shonach, who's got a fabulous Gaelic name. I love saying Shonach's name. Shonach. So my name's Jim Cassidy, and I live in a very different world probably from a lot of you guys, because my life is in the startup world. And actually, I prefer to call it new companies because, you know, how long are you a startup? You know, you're a startup when you decide to take an idea to a concept and actually get it to a sort of a viable product. But as soon as you've got a customer, you're not really a startup because you're learning as you move along. So I've spent a long, long time in IT. I'm a bit like Wendy, that I'm at the stage in my career where I don't admit to my age anymore, but I get really pissed when I hear that companies are getting rid of people with huge amounts of experience to supposedly bring in all these young guns. And I'm like, why would you not do both? Because the thing is that you need the young guns to learn from the people that have actually been through the wars and know so much about what's going on. And if you can put them together as a group, you've got an amazingly powerful formula for success. Thank you. And I had spent a long, long time, like many of you in the corporate world. You know, I worked for J. Walter Thompson, I worked for News Corporation, I worked for IBM. And in the last few years, I worked for a company called BEA Systems, and we were acquired by Oracle for $11.8 billion. And there was no better company to work for because we started off with about 400 or 500 employees when I went in, and we ended up with about 3,000. And never once did the culture of that company change. It was always a startup. We were every single day we were getting smashed by Oracle or smashed by IBM or smashed by EMC or some large company wanted to kill us. And every single day we said, there's no way they're going to kill us, because if they're going to kill us, it drives our value up. And we'll be sold for not $5 billion or $6 billion, but some person's going to come along with some obscene offer because we've made a massive impact in the business. And that was fantastic. But when Oracle had bought us, I decided that really I'd had enough. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to start to give back to technology. Because technology had been really good to me. I'd learned a lot. I'd worked with some amazing team, and I'd been really fortunate, genuinely, to meet some amazing women that I've worked with and have really built some incredible models that were super successful. So I thought, look, I've been dragging my wife around the world for about 25 years, and she's Australian, so that's why we're back in Australia. And she said, look, you know, we need to go back. I want my children to be Australian eventually. And so I thought, well, why not? So I thought, well, what am I going to do when I come back? Because I just don't want to work for someone. I'm just not that. I just don't want to do that anymore. So I thought, right, I want to stay in technology and I want to do something different. So I want to get involved in startups. Then, as happens in most businesses, the network started to take effect. And one of my many sister-in-laws had a best friend, and she said, you should meet my brother-in-law. So two brother-in-laws met, which was him and me. And he'd just come back from traveling around the world as well. And he said, why don't we do something with startups? So originally we were going to look at, you know, creating incubators. Because incubators really is all about how do you give people who are starting new businesses the knowledge that they don't make the mistakes that others have made before them. And we thought, well, in actual fact, that's all about education, which is fantastic. And it's actually about getting involved in real estate because you've got to have somewhere to train people. We thought education is critically important, and I totally agree with everything that Wendy said and what Dale said as well with the way that NAB's moving. But really we thought, what's more important to a new company than money? Because really money drives everything. Because if you've got money, you learn how to use it. If you've got money, you learn how to make it. And that was the important thing. So we sat down one day and said, well, let's start a venture capital fund. So we did. We went out and we talked to people that have got money, usually high net worth or ultra high net worth individuals. And we said to them, look, you've made all your wealth is based on property or real estate and property or retail. why not dabble in the technology business? Technology businesses are the lifeblood of Australia. It's where the future is. Why don't you look at that? Amazingly enough, we set to raise an amount of money, a number of millions of dollars, and we raised that money in 2 weeks. Because the faith of those people was that they really believed that there was a future for Australia and innovation was really what had to be driven. So we act on behalf of our investors. And what we do is that we meet people every single day who want to change the world, who want to do things differently. And the interesting thing is that as we've worked with these people, and I've started to work with a lot of the women that we see, I really have a couple of grave concerns. Number one is that in Silicon Valley in Australia, about 3% of companies are founded by women. So 97% of the companies that are going to drive the future of what we do are represented by 50% of the population. And that really worries me, because I just don't think that 50% of the population has a really good idea of what the hell the future holds. So it's critically important to me and to the fund and everyone that we work with, and the time that I spend on Vic ICT, which I'm hugely passionate about to do with getting women into IT, that you come in. Because clap if you want, it's no problem. That's the way. Excellent. Because this needs to be a balanced world. It really does. And I think if you want to come in, and we get that 3%, if I can persuade 10 people in here to think about starting a company, think about the ideas they've got, think about doing something differently, then I've just trebled the amount of percentage of people that normally would be doing things. And that's the way we need to do. So I thought, how are the women that we work with? What do they look at in terms of some of the components that they've got to manage to be successful? The interesting thing is the first one is risk. As soon as they can manage risk and as soon as they can feel comfortable with risk, that seems to just release them in terms of what they can think about doing. And it's really interesting with the women that we've dealt with, because they almost seem to feel that they're carrying the burden of risk within the unit that they're in or within the life that they've got. And we've said, look, you need to release that burden and you need to share that burden with someone else and get comfortable with risk. Because once you get comfortable with risk, then what you can do is you can address the challenges that you're looking for. And the challenges are that we need you to look at things differently. And then once you all of a sudden get risk managed, your mind starts to open up and looks at different ways of looking at opportunity. And then what happens is you automatically become confident. And confidence is also driven by the women that I think are amazing at building a network to support them. When we look at investing in a company, we look at the people that the founders surround themselves with. And the fascinating thing with the women is that they've got the best advisors, the best mentors. They're not proud about asking for help. Whereas with a lot of the guys, we get into these huge arguments about, look, you need to be changing your model in the US, so you should go and talk to these people. But I don't think they know what we're looking for. And we're like, we're not really interested in knowing what you think. We want to know what they think because you need help. But the power of the women, they're just like, that's it. In fact, I'm doing some due diligence on a company at the moment, which has started it's in cloud storage, deduplication, which is an amazing area at the moment. And I've spoken to 11 guys that this woman has brought in to help her, and they are extraordinary. They are like a first team in terms of support for this individual. And this seems to be completely the way that these people drive the business. The other thing as well is that they're totally comfortable with change. I really applaud anyone who starts a business. I applaud even more the people who're really, really successful. So as I say, I've got 1 minute to go, but I'm going to talk for longer than a minute. I'm just going to talk for maybe 3 minutes. Because I'm in the startup world, and we don't stick to the rules. We don't have to worry about compliance. Okay? This is all about rewriting the rules. Sorry, I apologize. So anyway, what I want to encourage you all is I want to encourage you to look at what you're doing differently. There are two societies that exist today. There's the normal society, which is the corporate world that a lot of you guys in here work at. And it is amazing to hear what Dale talks about, the NAB, and I know what's going on at ANZ and all those companies and the Victorian government, the massive changes that you guys are trying to do to drive innovation. That is absolutely fantastic. There's also another world, which is the people that are getting up every single day and deciding to do things differently. And you don't know about them. But I'm telling you, they're around you everywhere. If you don't get a taxi and you get an Uber, those are the guys that invented that idea. If you don't go to a hotel nowadays because you use Airbnb, that's exactly what they do. If you're looking at using cloud storage for deduplication, but you think you use an EMC, you should be using a company called Storage Use. So they're out there and they're doing it differently. They think differently, they act differently, and if they fail, the beauty of it is they love it so much, they'll try again. And what you can do in the corporate world is you can help them. You need to look at the systems that you've got, the companies that you deal with, and the way that you do business, and think about how you can help those new companies. You'll get a buzz out of it yourself because you'll think about new pricing models, new ways to get around compliance, still within the constraints of compliance. And it'll be just a whole different way of you looking at thinking of the way that you operate. I love it. I've been doing it for a long time. I love the highs, and it's a grind as well, people getting pushed back all the time. It's incredibly motivational, but it's really difficult as well, saying to people, you've got to keep trying. And you do see lots of success, but you see even more failure. But hey, that's what business is all about. So join me, the women in the audience preferably, to think of a new way to move forward, think of an idea, get it to be a worthwhile concept, and drive those products. And contact us once you've got a product, because at Rampersand, we will do anything to fast track the success of women. Because if we do it, then the other VCs will do it, and then you start to get that momentum. So I appreciate the time here tonight. Thanks very much.